don't forget to subscribe. I promise, our subscribe button doesn't bite. In fact, it gives you +10 legendary power.
100 angels descended from the sky like rains of light, followed one after another by the rulers of destruction. The sky above the planet ignited, and the earth beneath them trembled as if it feared what was about to happen. But in that place, there was only Goku, standing amidst the ruins, his body blazing with white fire and pure energy. His hair glowed, and his eyes were empty of mercy. Everyone who saw him felt one thing: fear. Even Beerus, who thought he knew the limits of Goku's power, swallowed hard in silence, whispering, "This isn't Goku. This is something else." Then Goku spoke in a low voice that pierced through all of space. "Come closer. I want to see which one of you deserves to live." In the blink of an eye, 3 rulers of destruction rushed toward him at once, but before they could touch him, his body vanished from their sight. No one heard the strike. They only saw their bodies fall to the ground like broken dolls without souls. The rest trembled, unable to understand how or when he moved. Goku stood among them, unconsciously wearing a cold smile as he said, "Your attacks are shallow. I can't even feel them." Then suddenly, his voice thundered across the void. "Who's next?" Sidra stepped forward confidently, though sweat covered his forehead, shouting, "Stand aside, I'll handle him myself." All eyes turned toward him, for he was the ruler whose body was said to be harder than steel, unbreakable. He spoke arrogantly, raising his power to its absolute limit. "Who does this Saiyan think he is? My skin can't be pierced. His existence is nothing but dust before me." But Goku didn't answer. A single look from him made Sidra's heart tremble. Then Goku slowly opened his mouth, and from it burst a volcanic flame. Pure fire as if born from the heart of the sun. It condensed into a tiny orb of energy between Goku's fingers. He stepped towards Sidra, who froze completely, unable to move. The blast struck Sidra directly. He screamed in agony as his body burned in an instant, vaporized completely, leaving behind only a scorched shadow on the ground. Madness filled the air. The ruler Liquor screamed as he rushed from behind at incredible speed, striking with all his might to surprise Goku. But time itself seemed to stop for a moment. Goku turned in an instant, appearing behind Liquor like lightning. He grabbed him by the head with one hand. Liquor's eyes glistening with tears. Goku said, "Your energy is mine now." Liquor's body began to shrivel like paper consumed by fire, his face distorted, followed by a short scream and a shattering silence unlike anything before. Everyone in the sky, the assistants, the rulers, even Vados froze in place. The aura surrounding Goku began to crack the very fabric of space, and nearby universes trembled. One of the assistants spoke in a trembling voice. He's surpassing the concept of power itself. He's completely lost his mind." Goku turned toward them, his eyes without pupils, his voice coming out like an icy whisper. And with every step he took, the earth shook beneath him.
planet was close to Earth, the tremors reached its depths, and people everywhere felt a force that terrified their souls. A power beyond description, as if the sky itself was trembling. Vegeta was preparing to leave, his expression frozen, hiding a storm of anxiety. He slowly approached Bulma and Trunks, looked at them for a long moment, and said a single word, "I'll return. Take care of your mother while I'm gone, boy." Then he turned to leave, but a soft hand caught his wrist from behind. It was Chi-Chi, tears streaming down her face as if she couldn't let him go. Her voice was broken, hoarse from crying. "Please, Vegeta, bring him back alive. Bring Goku back to me." Vegeta stopped, a strange silence upon him. He didn't know what to say. He gently took Chi-Chi's hand and nodded. From afar, Bardock approached, his expression stern, but his eyes hiding an indescribable pain. He said, "So, you married my son. I'm glad he found someone who truly cares for him." Chi-Chi froze for a moment, her tears stopping as she stared at the unfamiliar man who looked so much like her husband, unable to understand anything. Meanwhile, Whis was standing beside him, smiling slightly, holding his staff.
Vegeta raised his head toward the sky and spoke in a firm voice, filled with determination and pain. "It's time to leave this place. Time is running out." Whis extended his staff, and suddenly the three of them vanished, soaring swiftly into the heavens. On another planet, destruction reigned everywhere. Goku, the beast who had lost all traces of humanity, stood among the scorched corpses of the rulers of destruction. His breath was fire, and every movement he made ignited the space around him. But suddenly, the fabric of space tore open, revealing a gate of deep blue light spinning like a vortex that devoured existence itself. From it emerged the Grand Ruler, Daishin, his face expressionless, but the fury in his eyes was enough to extinguish the flames burning across the void. Daishin slowly raised his hand, his voice echoing across space. "My children, now show no mercy to this creature." In an instant, 10 angels moved in perfect harmony, a sight never seen before. Each one lifted their celestial staff, releasing interwoven streams of energy that formed massive chains of light, moving at the speed of lightning directly toward Goku. Each chain bore a seal of supreme power, crafted to restrain the strongest of beings. The first thread of light struck Goku's body, then the second, then the third. Within moments, his entire form was bound, the radiant chains coiling around his arms, his chest, his neck, and even his very soul. Goku roared like a lion, and the echo of his scream shook all universes. Yet his roar was not human. It was a fusion of rage, madness, and pure energy. His eyes blazed with silver fire, sparks flying from his body as he struggled to break the chains. The ground beneath him melted, but the chains did not shatter. From afar, Daishin stood motionless in midair, his eyes now completely white without pupils. He raised both hands and began chanting strange words in an unknown language. With each word, the chains glowed brighter, and Goku screamed louder. The energy around him flickered between light and darkness, as if waging war within him. Some of the angels trembled. This was the first time they had ever witnessed a being resisting the spell of the Grand Ruler himself. One of them exclaimed in disbelief, His energy, it's resisting the annihilation spell to the Dark Fortress. That's impossible. But Daishin did not respond. He continued his chant, his voice growing louder and more commanding. The heavens exploded, as if the universe itself had decided to slap reality. Lightning descended like pillars of wrath from the skies, swallowing vast distances. Countless assistants were vaporized in an instant. From within that blinding light emerged Whis, the strongest of his brothers. It became clear that it was he who had unleashed that power through his staff, an energy shock meant to ease the weight of the battle. To Whis' right stood Vegeta. His rage turning pale with resolve, saying, "There's no room for fear now." And to his left, Bardock stared at his son in disbelief before the overwhelming shadow that Goku had become, wrapped in chains of pure energy. Whis raised his voice sharply, his tone firm and commanding. A quick plan dropped like a spark among them. "We outnumber us. I'll stabilize the time field with my staff. Vegeta, your task is to distract and break their formation. Bardock, you'll reach Goku's heart, calm him, and bring him back to himself. Then, with your mastery of instinct, you'll break the light chains from the outside. Whoever's bound cannot break them from within. Once it's done, we escape. Until then, we fight with everything we've got, no hesitation." Vegeta replied with a burning arrogance. "And what about the Grand Ruler? Do you think he'll just stand and watch?" Whis gave a faint smile that failed to hide his concern. "Don't worry, I know him well. He enjoys talking more than acting. He'll want to negotiate with me before killing. That is, if he still behaves as he used to. And besides, he's too busy containing Goku's power right now." Suddenly, Bardock snapped, unable to restrain himself. He leapt upward and struck Beerus with a crushing kick, slamming him into the ground before everyone's eyes. The shock froze every face. Beerus, humiliated twice in a single day, groaned on the ground as his aura of fear crumbled. Whis whispered in a low but commanding tone, "Bardock, stop now. This isn't the time for revenge." Bardock halted, his fists trembling, but his eyes gleamed as he looked at Goku, the gaze of both a father and a warrior. He rushed toward his chained son, trying to free him, but failed. Whis noticed this, and with his staff, released a localized burst of light that temporarily eased Goku's radiance for a brief moment.
Vegeta stood before the assistants, scattering them with breathtaking blows. Explosions of energy here, surges there, and with every passing second, the chances of survival or victory grew. Vegeta set the battlefield ablaze. Bardock whispered softly into his son's ear, hoping to reach his heart, while Whis watched with careful eyes, adjusting the staff's frequency. Goku was no longer human in that moment. His face dripped with energy, his body trembling as though trying to expel something far greater than himself. Bardock, his voice hoarse, extended his hand toward him,
Goku, calm down. Don't move. I'll free you from these chains. Just trust me. But the moment Bardock released the energy seals, a terrifying sound erupted, like the scream of the universe itself. Goku pushed Bardock back with such force that he crashed into a massive rock. A strange laugh came from Goku's mouth, a laugh that wasn't his own. A laugh that made the air itself shiver. His hair suddenly rose, growing until it brushed his back. And he transformed into a being that struck terror into every heart. His eyes became like twin embers of pure light. A single roar from him was enough to make half the planet vanish into nothingness from the sheer force of the explosion. Vegeta froze in silence, unable to move. Whis raised a barrier of energy that barely held together, and high above, inside the great palace, Zeno was watching everything from his throne. His eyes widened in terror, and his small body began to tremble. Suddenly, the ground beneath him quaked violently as never before. A mysterious sound rose from the depths of the palace, from directly underneath the earth. The floor of the grand hall cracked open, and a black light began to seep upward from below. There was a buried palace deep underground, and in its heart, a massive stone statue sat on a colossal throne, shifting slightly from the immense power it felt from Goku. That was the reason for the earthquake within the palace. Back on the battlefield, the sky was torn apart as if dying, and the winds howled with the wail of the dead. Goku raised his hand and unleashed a terrifying burst of power. Everyone stood still. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the remaining rulers of destruction, who had long been accustomed to scenes of annihilation, were frozen in place by pure fear. Goku was no longer the Goku they knew. His new form resembled a being born from chaos itself. Light burned from his body. Whis, for the first time in his life, his face was devoid of calm. Vegeta stood there in disbelief, whispering to himself,
Kakarot, what have you become? Amid the ruins, Bardock struggled to rise, covered in dust and blood. He lifted his head toward his son and spoke with a broken voice. Why? Why did you do this, my son?
Don't you remember me? I am your father!" The words died in Bardock's throat as he saw what his son had become. But Goku did not move, did not reply. He was surrounded by dense light, and within that radiance, his eyes gleamed with an inhuman coldness. Then suddenly, a voice pierced the silence. Finally, let's end this chaos." Everyone turned toward the source of the voice. The Grand Ruler stood above them, his hands raised high, and on his arms, strange black symbols began to appear, symbols no one had ever seen before. Whis spoke in a trembling voice. "No, no, not that spell. It's forbidden, even among us." But it was too late. The Grand Ruler slowly extended his hand toward Goku, and in an instant, a thick black darkness poured from his palms, moving like a living, hungry creature. It darted faster than light itself and engulfed Goku completely before anyone could intervene. Vegeta's scream echoed through the heavens. "Kakarot!" But there was no answer.
The white light vanished, and the air grew so heavy that it suffocated everyone around.
After Goku awakened the power of the pure, luminous Ultra Instinct, he turned the battlefield into a nightmare. He terrified everyone and annihilated everything in sight. Countless attendants and rulers of destruction fell before him. Out of 100 attendants, only a few remained. Most of the rulers had been slaughtered. Only Beerus and a few others survived, drenched in blood, gasping in terror. Everyone realized the horrifying truth. Goku had not been defeated. He had been banished from the battlefield by Daishin Khan's power into the dark fortress. Silence swallowed the void around Goku. No time, no direction, no sound. He stood motionless, breathing heavily, his head spinning as if he had just awakened from a terrible dream. He muttered weakly to himself, "The last thing I remember was training with Whis and Bardock, then that explosion, and after that, nothing." But when he looked down at his own body, he froze. His skin had changed. Strange glowing symbols moved slowly beneath it, like living streams of light. Each symbol pulsed like a heartbeat, emitting a faint hum that resembled the whispers of spirits. He raised his hand and saw the light react to his breath.
And it won't stop until this ends.
What is this? Is this my energy? No, this isn't Ultra Instinct. This is something else. Before he could think further, an immense pressure crashed down from above, a crushing weight that nearly destroyed him on the spot. His knees hit the ground, and the air grew impossibly heavy. He struggled to resist, but his body froze completely, as if something unseen was dragging his soul out of him. Then, voices. Not human voices, but overlapping whispers in incomprehensible tongues.
Relieve him not enough.
Stop! Get out of my head!
Crushed forever. Empty, nothing failed.
Goku screamed, trying to endure, but the voices grew louder until his mind felt like it would shatter.
Damn it! I won't stop! I have to keep moving. Not yet.
The world faded away, and he collapsed unconscious. The glowing symbols across his body flickered out, one by one, until he returned to his normal form. Back on the battlefield, Bardock fell to his knees, tears mixing with the dust. No, no! What have you done to my son, you cursed monster? Whis stood silent, head bowed, powerless to intervene. The remaining rulers of destruction, Beerus, Belmod, and Moscow, seized the opportunity to strike. They surrounded Whis, preparing to end him for once and for all. But Vegeta, unable to bear the humiliation,
It's time to finish this! Feel the surge! My power won't be stopped. One strike, that's all it'll take! Ha!
roared with fury and charged into the fray, cutting through every attacker without mercy.
Take this! You still think you can stop me? Then come at me again! I'll knock every one of you down! Out of my way! He's breaking through their line! This ends now!
Above them, Daishin watched the chaos unfold. He slowly lowered his hand and said coldly, "It's over. This is how it was meant to be." The Grand Priest stood amidst the devastation, his face veiled in shadow, a cold smile curling on his lips. A blue ring of energy materialized above his head, spinning silently, radiating a light that echoed like trapped souls. Whis whispered in fear, "We have to escape, now." But before he could move, Daishin unleashed a blinding flash from the ring. In a single moment, everything stopped.
Whis, Vegeta, and Bardock froze where they stood. As if time itself had ceased within their bodies. Whis tried to resist, but his eyes turned to stone. Vegeta attempted to lift his arm, but his body shattered before he could move an inch. Behind them, Bardock stood paralyzed, his face frozen in pain and disbelief. His eyes still locked on the spot where Goku had vanished. The Grand Priest began to laugh. A low, merciless sound that grew into a chilling, echoing cackle. It's over. No one breaks the laws, not even you, Whis. But before he could finish speaking, a deep tremor rippled through the air. Then came a voice, a soft, childlike voice, yet laden with indescribable terror.
No! This can't be happening! It's coming undone! We have to escape! Now! Before it's too late!
The Grand Priest froze. For the first time, his face went pale, every trace of emotion drained. He turned slowly, and there, behind him, stood Zeno. But this was not the Zeno they once knew. His robes were soaked in darkness, his eyes wide open, devoid of their usual innocence. His voice trembled, tired, broken, like something within him had shattered forever. He spoke softly, and yet his words made the entire cosmos tremble.
It's over, Daishin.
Silence followed. Even the winds ceased to move. Even light itself dimmed in fear. Daishin, the proud, untouchable ruler, could not reply. Zeno's gaze pierced through him like frozen blades. Everyone understood then something greater than war had begun. Moments later, Goku's eyes opened slowly. He was inside the dark fortress. The walls pulsed faintly, as though alive. The air was heavy, and the darkness around him was not mere absence of light. It was aware, watching him. He leaned against the wall, gasping, then stood shakily. How did I get inside? Before him stood three figures, silent, cloaked in long black robes that hid their faces. Their auras were inverted, energies that could not be defined as good or evil, but something between. One held a massive open book.
Let the words awaken.
The gate is open. He walks among us now.
On its single page, an image of Goku, glowing blue.
Whisper deeper. The power listens.
Heed the vow. Sarth Onanakra.
Rise, champion. Speak through us.
The ritual is complete.
Another spoke in a distorted voice, as if many spoke through one.
It is him, the bearer of the golden sigils.
Goku narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? Who are you? No answer came. Only the weight of their presence deepened. The air itself turned solid around him. Anger surged within Goku. His energy flared. If you won't talk, then I'll make your body speak. He lunged forward, striking one of them hard, but the blow tore off the figure's hood. But what he saw made his heart freeze. The face was neither human nor anything he had ever seen. The being spoke in a deep, icy tone that cut through his soul.
Impatient for your own torment, son Goku?
At those words, the ground beneath him split open, and black chains of dormant energy erupted upward, wrapping tightly around his body, piercing through his flesh and into his spirit. They began draining something from him, not just energy, but memory. Goku screamed in agony, struggling to break free, but the chains only tightened. Then the three guardians spoke in unison, their voices echoing as if the entire fortress itself were speaking.
Phase 1, purification of the body. Phase 2, breaking of the will. Phase 3, torture.
In the battlefield, Zeno spoke with a pale face, his eyes trembling, his voice breaking apart.
It's beginning to awaken. Zardock, the third founder of the Saiyans.
Silence. Even the air froze. Everyone exchanged terrified looks. The name that escaped Zeno's lips pierced their hearts like a cold blade. The Grand Priest trembled and stepped back, fear clear on his face for the first time. As for Bardock, he froze in place, his eyes wide, tears flowing unconsciously. Zardock, my father, he's still alive? Whis, bound within the glowing blue ring, stared in disbelief. Your father? That being who once tried to erase Zeno's father from existence? How could something like that still live? The energy around them began to quake as though something was awakening deep within the multiverse. The Grand Priest raised his head slowly and said in a hoarse voice, "We must leave this world immediately. No one can face Zardock once he awakens." Zeno nodded silently, and with a single gesture, a temporal rift opened in the middle of the battlefield, swallowing light and sound into its depths. He whispered in a trembling tone filled with dread,
"We're going back before his eyes open completely."
Everyone vanished. In the heart of darkness, two colossal eyes began to open slowly within the abandoned palace, glowing with a pale white light like dawn before the end of time. The stone statue stood up, shards of rock falling from its body. The ground beneath it split apart, and the statue began to rise with terrifying slowness. Each movement of its body caused thousands of tons of petrified stone to crumble like dead skin. Its voice echoed like the roar of an ancient volcano.
How long has it been since I was frozen here?
The sky is cracked, and the universe is quaked as one. At that moment, Zeno's entire planet exploded, not from physical power, but from a spiritual detonation, as if existence itself could no longer endure the presence of the being that had awakened. A dreadful silence followed the explosion. Then Zardock began sensing the energy still breathing across the universes, until he suddenly stopped.
That aura, Saiyan blood, still flows in someone.
Two distinct energies pulsed in his perception. One distant, distorted, hidden within cosmic mist, freezes, and the other closer, smaller, yet carrying an ancient trace that mirrored his own. He turned toward it, crossing universes with a single step. Every movement made the stars around him fade into ash. In a blink, he stood silently in the calm void above a small blue planet. He murmured,
Universe 7. This planet, Earth, is strange.
He descended slowly, his feet touching the ground. The entire planet trembled. The clouds scattered, the oceans rose in terror at his presence. He closed his eyes to sense the true source of that energy. It came from a simple place, insignificant compared to his vastness, a small home on the edge of the mountains. He opened his eyes. The air itself froze.
This energy, weak but pure, it is of my blood.
The wind died, and the sky turned gray. Zardock lifted his head toward the horizon, his voice a whisper like a coming storm. He began walking slowly toward that small house. Inside, Gohan was crying softly, feeling deep down that his father would never return. And then suddenly, he sensed it. Something not human was standing just outside his door.
Can't breathe.
Haven't eaten in days. I'm not giving up. Still here. Can't stop. Not yet. One more breath. One more step. Then I'll rise and finish this.
Gohan rushed out of the house, hastily throwing on his battle clothes without order. His heart pounded like war drums, every step echoing the fear pounding in his chest. In front of him, standing in the open field, was a massive being. Unlike anything he had ever seen, a mysterious aura surrounded it, yet no readable power level emanated from it. Gohan froze, his brow tense, and he said sharply, "Who are you?" The creature didn't reply at first. Silence filled the air. Then finally, it spoke in a deep, grinding voice that sounded like moving stone.
Your clothes are strange. Are you truly Saiyan? What is your name?
Gohan answered with a mix of anger and pride. Son Gohan, son of Son Goku. The creature's slow, terrifying smile appeared, not friendly at all. It looked at him with an ancient gaze, as if reading his bloodline through his veins, and said coldly,
Clearly, you are not the one who awakened me from my slumber. Your power is weak, very weak.
Then, with a hint of mockery, he added,
Anyway, tell me, who destroyed the Saiyan planet?
Gohan's expression hardened, fury rising in his chest. If you don't tell me why you came to my home... He couldn't finish. Zardock raised his hand calmly and pointed toward him. Even from afar, without touching him, Gohan felt a deep, piercing hum inside his skull, a headache born from bone itself. He froze. His fists clenched the air. He shouted, "Stop it! Stop!" Zardock halted, his tone colder than steel.
I am not here to play. I think I'll go to another Saiyan. I can sense his power hiding like a rat.
He began to walk away, his steps shaking the ground beneath him. Gohan stood up, his body trembling, his voice cracking. "Please, wait! I have one request. Train me, and I'll tell you who destroyed the planet." Zardock laughed, a cold laugh that sliced through the silence like a blade. Then he spoke, as though delivering an ancient verdict.
I could extract that information without helping you, but since you might be a descendant of my bloodline, I will grant you something far greater than training. Something that multiplies your strength beyond belief.
Gohan stammered, startled by the words. Descendant? Something greater? I don't understand. But then he remembered his purpose, his father. He forgot his fear and replied with a grim resolve. If it can bring my father back, I accept. Zardock smiles slowly, a deadly smile.
I will give you one drop of my blood. Just one. It will either let you control power beyond measure, or kill you instantly. Do you accept?
Gohan's heart thundered. There was no turning back. He said hoarsely but firmly, "No choice. I accept. I'll do anything to bring my father back. In the moment that followed, Zardock gripped his hand with inhuman strength, his skin rough like stone. From his palm, blood began to flow, each drop vibrating with dreadful energy. The ground sizzled wherever the blood fell. Zardock lifted his hand, the dark red drops glowing faintly, and said in a voice as cold as death,
"Drink it, and let your body decide whether you deserve to live."
Gohan approached, his heart trembling, throat dry, yet he swallowed the drop. The instant the blood touched his lips, everything inverted. It was as though light itself died in his eyes. A faint gasp escaped him, then turned into a scream that tore the sky apart. He fell to his knees, clutching his stomach as if a fire raged inside. His face twisted, his eyes rolled back, veins bulged as though bursting from within. Ah! His body convulsed violently, unbearable heat rising from within until a dark red steam enveloped him. His breathing turned ragged, his voice fading into the void. He collapsed completely, his mouth bleeding, trembling as he tried to endure, then suddenly spat out a thick stream of blood. He froze, eyes open wide, his last scream swallowed by the void.
Silence. No wind. No sound. Only Gohan's lifeless body lying on the ground, blood dripping from his pale lips. Zardock approached slowly, his eyes void of mercy or surprise. He whispered, almost to fate itself,
"As expected, my blood spares no weakling."
Then he looked toward the horizon and murmured,
"It seems I'll have to hunt down the other Saiyan myself."
There was no sky, no earth, only an endless sea of blood stretching into eternity. Gohan's body floated on its surface, his face smeared, his senses fading. Then a faint whisper reached his ear, a voice from nowhere.
Come, I have something to show you.
He opened his eyes in terror and screamed, trembling uncontrollably. His breathing was ragged. Slowly, he lifted his head and saw his reflection in the blood. But it wasn't his face anymore. Strange symbols were carved into his skin, his body marked like a map of torment. He stumbled backward, but the blood clung to his legs, holding him in place as if alive. He shouted with a trembling voice, "Where am I? What is this place?" No answer, only whispers growing louder around him, as though spirits were speaking from beneath the surface. He raised his eyes and saw enormous skulls floating before him. He backed away, trembling. Then a deafening, inhuman scream shattered the silence. The blood itself boiled from the sound. At that moment, Gohan stood up despite his fear, clenched his fists, and whispered, "No, I can't die here. Father, I'm still fighting for you." He began to walk through the bloody sea.
What is this place? It's alive. The walls, they're breathing. I can feel something watching me. I need to stay sharp. Every step feels heavier. Whatever this is, it's trying to pull me in.
Each step made him sink deeper, each breath heavier, as if the air itself were burning.
He saw skulls lined up on both sides, endless rows, their mouths open, smiling at him as if waiting for his fall. And at the end of the path, a tall black castle appeared, rivers of blood and volcanoes flowing around it. Gohan decided to move toward it. It was his only path. He approached until he stood before the castle's gates. Iron, engraved, and massive, he moved closer slowly, fear crawling through his veins like poison. But deep inside, that weak voice, the one carrying his father's name, his clear purpose, whispered for him to keep going, no matter the cost. There was only curiosity in his heart. The sound of the gate was like the scream of a soul tearing through a grave. As he neared the door, it opened slowly, terrifyingly, without him touching it. The creak echoing through the air, as if the world itself was in pain. His footsteps echoed in the dark corridor, but before he could even breathe, the door slammed shut behind him with a violent crash. Gohan turned quickly, tried to open it with all his strength, but it was useless. The metal was alive, pulsing, as if the castle itself was swallowing him whole. Then he turned forward and found a dark staircase. His anger grew, his resolve to save his father hardened, and he continued walking, the marks of determination carved on his face. Upon entering the castle, the first thing he saw was another massive gate, completely different from the previous one, shaped like a giant mouth with crooked white teeth, behind which a red moon glowed, dripping blood as if it smiled to devour him. He realized it was the source of all those seas of blood. Gohan froze where he stood, veins screaming with terror. The voices around him whispered for the first time, clearly and eerily.
Enter. This is where the true test begins.
Once he stepped inside, silence filled the place.
Gohan walked hesitantly through a dark cell, the dim light of a broken torch barely tracing his shadow on the stone walls. The massive mouth behind him had closed, and now he knew there was no way back. He had entered alone, searching for the source of the mysterious energy he felt here, not knowing that he had stepped into a gate from which no one returns. The air changed suddenly, heavier, as if something was watching him. Rows upon rows of giant statues, some holding swords, others spears, some staring directly at him with cold stone eyes. And at the far end of the hall sat a colossal statue on a throne of shadows, its face a blend of skull and horror.
They're too big. I shouldn't be here.
Gohan took a single step forward. On the wall before him, glowing words appeared, igniting as he touched them. He hesitated, looked around. No sound, no movement. But something inside him whispered,
These aren't words. This is the awakening.
Then, the unimaginable happened. The eye of the statue sitting on the throne opened. Eye, cold, red, staring directly at him. The air froze. Gohan's heart stopped for a second. Then came the sound of heavy footsteps. One of the statues on the left began to move. Then another and another, until the entire hall filled with the grinding of stone and the echo of merciless iron. Gohan stepped back, panting, trying to understand. When the first strike of a stone spear pierced the ground before him, shaking the entire hall, he began to run. Every step collided with the echo of death behind him. The statues moved slowly, but never stopped. To the untrained eye, they seemed sluggish, but they were always closing in. Gathering his will, Gohan began to fight with all his strength against those statues.
Stay down. Not happening. You want to punish me? Try harder!
But there was something strange. The giant statues rebuilt themselves every time they were destroyed. The battle was endless. He stumbled and fell, looked behind him. One of the statues raised a massive stone sword toward his head.
Damn it.
He screamed, leaped to the side at the last moment. The blade split the ground, shaking the place like an earthquake.
Can't stop now. Keep moving. Not over yet.
Blood flowed from his arm. One of his limbs had been torn. Gohan, lying on the floor, rose slowly. He refused to surrender. He didn't feel pain, only pure fear.
He shouted loudly, "You, the one sitting on the throne, if you can hear me, stop this. I know you're the ruler here." Suddenly, the statues froze, all of them motionless, as if obeying. They stepped back and solidified in their places again. Gohan raised his head slowly and saw the statue on the throne tilt its head toward him, as if it was smiling. Then he heard a strange echo inside his mind, not a human voice, but a broken, celestial whisper.
"Prove you are worthy of life."
The statues began to move again, but this time slower, as if watching his obedience. He spoke with a trembling voice. "I want to become stronger. My father is waiting for me. Can you make me stronger, or are you just a statue like them?" Darkness swallowed the hall. Silence lasted for what felt like a lifetime. When Gohan turned and opened his eyes again, his body was covered in blood, but he felt nothing. Before him, a red light window appeared, glowing in the dark.
許
You have been chosen as the first to obtain the instinct of kings. Prove you are worthy, or this curse will kill you.
All the statues froze in their places. Gohan raised his head slowly and saw his trembling hand. Something inside his heart began to change. Then came the roar, a monstrous scream behind him.
I am awakened.
A giant creature grabbed him in its hand and ripped his heart out mercilessly. But the real horror came when it replaced his heart with a black stone crystal. And once it was done, it threw him to the ground. The moon was no longer the same. It had turned into a massive crimson sphere, its bloody light flooding the entire earth. The sky split open, the air choked, cities trembled under immense pressure, and the oceans began to boil as if burning with raids. Krillin, Trunks, Goten, and Piccolo all turned toward the east. That light was coming from there, from Gohan's house. Goten screamed, tears streaming down his face.
That light, it's coming from home. My brother, Gohan. Please don't die. Please be okay.
Trunks grabbed his arm, his face pale with terror, and said with a trembling voice,
"We have to check it out, Goten. My father and yours aren't here, and this energy isn't normal. It's tearing the earth apart. We have to fight like men now."
Elsewhere, Krillin clenched his fist and shouted, "Damn it! What is this disaster? I've never seen the planet like this before."
Piccolo, his eyes narrowing in disbelief, muttered, "Impossible. This energy. I know this feeling well. It's coming from someone I recognize." Meanwhile, in space, the nearby planets shook. Even the other realms could feel it.
Get out of the way! It's coming for us! We have to run faster!
What happened to the moon? Why did it turn red?
Help us! Don't look back! Just run!
As for Zardock, he was exploring Earth and had reached distant mountains. His eyes gleamed with an ancient spark, a mix of madness and majesty. He lifted his head toward the light and smiled slowly, a smile that carried both pride and dread, then spoke in a voice deep as thunder.
"At last, my heir has awakened, the new successor of the Saiyan bloodline."
Then he burst into laughter, a booming laugh that tore through the skies, shredding the clouds around him.
"I think I'm eager to test his power. How long has it been since my last battle?"
And at the heart of that light, Gohan rose from the ashes. His body shone with a royal white radiance. His hair was no longer black. It was pure white, dripping with majestic light, and his eyes glowed with a brilliance like the clear sky. The air around him was completely still. No sound, but a single heartbeat, shaking the earth with every breath he took. He took one step forward, and the ground beneath him shattered unknowingly. Nature itself froze in awe. Gohan, Royal Ultra Instinct. The transformation never recorded in any era, a form attainable only by one who carries both Zardock's blood and the trial of the modification gate. Gohan stood tall, his head lifted toward the red moon, and spoke in a low voice that echoed through the entire universe. "What is this energy? Am I truly alive, or was it all just a nightmare?" He slowly raised his hand, gathering a tremendous luminous power in his palm to test his new strength. A radiant light formed. He released it forward instantly. It shot outward beyond Earth, moving endlessly, as though it would never stop. Gohan then spoke, determination burning across his face. "So, this is real. I can feel it." His smile faded, and he added, "But that place, it left only fear in my heart, and I can feel that it planted a dark power inside me."
When Trunks and Goten arrived, they encountered Krillin and Piccolo. They found that Team Shinhan, Yamcha, and Chaozu had already reached the source of the light, their faces frozen in shock. The ground was still shaking beneath their feet, and the sky was covered with a thick crimson glow that made everything look like a burning hell. The place where Gohan's house once stood no longer existed. No trace of the walls, nor of the trees that surrounded the home. Only a deep crater pulsing with waves of energy, like the heartbeat of a dying planet. Goten staggered forward, eyes drowned in tears. "No, it can't be! This was my brother's home! Where is he?" He ran toward the center, but Krillin grabbed his arm tightly, shouting, "Stop, Goten! Don't get closer! That energy, it's terrifying! It'll kill you before you even reach it!"
The wind howled violently around them, dust rose in spirals, and from the heart of the destruction, Gohan appeared. But no one recognized him. His hair was pure white, dripping with royal light. His body gleamed as if made of pure energy, and his eyes blazed with an inhuman radiance. He stood silently, motionless. Beneath him, the cracked ground swirled in a vortex of dust and pebbles. Yamcha trembled and whispered in a hoarse voice, Is that really Gohan? Trunks, in disbelief, muttered,
No. This is something else. His power surpasses even my father's.
Chiatsu took a step back, whispering in fear.
I can't even breathe. It's like the air itself is running away from this place.
At that moment, Gohan raised his head toward the red moon, his eyes gleaming like a storm foretelling disaster. Is this real? Is that my little brother? And my friends? Why can't I say anything? Why are they staring at me like that? In the distant mountains, Zardock vanished in an instant.
It's time.
Leaving behind a violent shockwave that split the earth open. In a blink, he appeared behind Gohan, without a sound. Not even the wind could follow his movement. He raised his hand calmly and spoke with a voice deep and filled with authority.
At last, my heir has awakened.
Everyone froze in place. Krillin muttered in a trembling voice, His heir? What does he mean by that? Wait, who is that giant? Before anyone could react, Zardock disappeared again and reappeared in front of Gohan without making a sound, as if space itself bowed to his speed.
Show me, my heir. Do you truly deserve this bloodline?
Gohan turned sharply, his eyes shining with a celestial glow. He said with a confident smirk, So it's you. He unleashed a wave of white energy. It exploded in the sky like a meteor, tearing through the clouds. Trunks screamed, covering his face from the blinding light.
Impossible. I couldn't even see what happened.
Goten shouted in terror.
Brother, stop!
But Gohan didn't hear anyone. Zardock appeared before him again and struck with a punch so powerful that the ground cracked for hundreds of meters. Dust and stones flew everywhere. Everyone stood in shock. Gohan had blocked the punch with his forehead, smiling with a mischievous grin. But then something strange froze their hearts. The destruction behind Gohan was catastrophic.
Piccolo gasped. No! No, this can't be! What's happening? His reaction was exaggerated, but he was the only one who noticed. Zardock hadn't even touched Gohan's face. Look! Piccolo shouted. The punch never reached him, and yet this happened. Zardock said arrogantly,
Impressive. You didn't move an inch from the force of my strike. I haven't seen anyone block it in ages. Ha ha ha.
Gohan replied without a trace of fear. Then next time, don't stop your punch. Or is that all you've got?
That spark inside you. It was never meant to exist. No doubt the Blood King took quite a liking to you.
What did you see inside me?
He planted a crimson core inside you. And that has never happened before.
When Zardock lowered his hand, blood began dripping from Goten's forehead. Yet the proud grin never left his face.
You tried. Now it's my turn.
Then Gohan countered with a stunning blow that made Zardock step back for the first time. The sight was majestic, white light clashing against crimson energy, every collision of their fists creating whirlwinds that shook the heavens. Yamcha and Tien Shinhan screamed in disbelief. By the ruler, I've never seen a battle like this in my life. Every punch is creating an earthquake. Time itself seemed to freeze when their fists met.
Feel that? That's power you can't touch.
The air stopped, dust hung suspended in the sky, and the oceans rippled violently under the pressure of their power. Zardock stepped back with a faint, proud smile.
Incredible! You've surpassed the limits of Ultra Instinct. I believe you're the strongest Saiyan alive now, but not stronger than me. Ha 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 ha!
He lifted his eyes toward the red moon and said in a deep tone,
Now I understand why the gate chose you. There's something different about you, boy.
Gohan was panting, his breath burning with exhaustion, yet he remained standing, his gaze firm, unwavering.
Is the test over?
Zardock smirked faintly and replied,
Well, I have bad news and good news. While you were inside the gate of modification, I searched for your father's energy using the drops of your blood that remained on my hand. I looked across all realms, through every galaxy, and I couldn't find him. But the good news, I found half a shattered planet near Earth. I sensed traces of many powers there, as if a war had taken place just hours ago. On its surface, I found sigils, markings of one of the cruelest forms of torment. They point to only one possibility. Someone was sent to the Dark Fortress, and the strongest likelihood is that it was your father. He is also the one who awakened me from my slumber. But that place is deadly to any being who hasn't been there before.
Hope lit up Gohan's face. His eyes blazed anew after long despair. He spoke with fierce determination and joy. If there's even a single chance to reach my father, I'll take it. Fine, let's go there. Zardock smiled faintly.
Remember, this is your choice. Bear the responsibility, heir of the royal bloodline. Ha 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 ha.
Gohan said firmly, I'm ready. But let me see my friends first. They're terrified. Zardock nodded silently, and Gohan's body vanished into a soft light. Reappearing before his friends. They were all there, their faces filled with shock and fear, staring at this unfamiliar being before them. A massive crater behind him pulsed with royal energy. Goten was the first to move. He ran forward, shouting,
Brother!
Krillin yelled, Stop, Goten! That's not! Before he could finish, Gohan had already embraced Goten tightly. Tears streamed down Goten's face.
It's okay, little one. I've got you.
I can't.
Tears mean your heart is strong. Let them out.
Brother! I knew it was you. I knew it! I thought you were dead. I couldn't find the house or anyone.
Gohan placed his hand gently on his brother's head and smiled warmly. I'm okay, Goten. I've been through a lot, but I won't leave before saying goodbye. Piccolo approached slowly, still unable to believe what he was seeing. Gohan, is that really you? Gohan answered with deep gratitude in his eyes and voice. Yes, Master Piccolo. Without you, I wouldn't be standing here today. Thank you for always being my second father. Piccolo was silent for a moment, his eyes glistening, before he turned away, whispering softly, Protect yourself, kid. This battle is beyond all of us. Your father and Vegeta have both fallen. I just hope you survive. Trunks stepped in, his face full of concern. Gohan, my father disappeared too. Do you think he's still alive? Gohan smiled confidently and replied, Yes. I'll bring my father back, and Vegeta too. I won't leave anyone behind.
Krillin exhaled, half in relief and half in awe. I don't know what you've become, Gohan, but your appearance alone has terrified the whole world. Gohan turned toward them, his eyes glowing with royal blue light, and said in a powerful, resolute voice, I'm going now. I'll find them, bring them back, and end this curse once and for all. Don't worry about me. He then looked down, where Zardock awaited him, high above the ground. Zardock lifted his hands, and dark symbols formed in the air, swirling like a mysterious vortex. His voice echoed mightily.
Prepare yourself. The journey to the Dark Fortress is no place for the weak.
The ground trembled, and the air thickened into a black mist, swallowing everything. Goten screamed, Brother, don't go! But Gohan looked back with a calm smile and said, I'll return, I promise. And in a single instant, his body was engulfed by the black smoke. He and Zardock vanished within a vortex of light and shadow, leaving their friends standing in heavy silence, their hearts torn between hope and fear.
Reappearing in an instant before the Dark Fortress, a colossal palace with the air around it screaming under an unnatural pressure. As soon as they arrived, Gohan collapsed straight onto his knees, his hand clutching his chest as blood began dripping from his nose and mouth. He shouted in confusion, What is this place? I feel like my body is being torn apart. Zardock spoke in a cold, heavy voice.
I told you, this place follows no law, no power level. This is a world outside all logic. I warned you that your body might not withstand the blood pressure of this dimension.
Zardock stood before the palace door and said,
I am going in now. I'll return quickly, but do not let your eyes close. If you lose consciousness, the fortress will pull you inside, and then it will be impossible for me to extract your father and you as well.
Gohan tried to resist, but his body trembled violently as the pressure increased. He heard Zardock's footsteps fading as he headed toward the palace. Then, all sound disappeared. As Zardock advanced into the castle, fear and tension were etched on his face. Even he, the founder of the Saiyans, with all his power, meant nothing in this place.
I'm ready.
Whatever waits in there, it ends tonight.
He reached the front of the fortress, opened the door, and entered the worst nightmare imaginable. Seconds passed. Then a few minutes. Suddenly, the door creaked open again with the groan of ancient iron.
Zardock emerged carrying a thin, withered, deformed body over his shoulder. The ribs were visible, the skin stuck to the bones as if it hadn't eaten in months or years. Its entire form carried the marks of torture.
He's gone, but I can't stop yet. Every step feels heavier, every breath burns. Hold on, brother. I'll get you home.
Gohan opened his eyes with difficulty, and a weak voice escaped him. Dad, is that you? What did they do to you? Your hand, where did it go? Zardock stood beside him and dropped Goku's body with no hint of mercy on his face.
I made a deal with the Fortress Guardians. They took my hand in exchange for giving me Goku. Fighting them is pointless. They are not creatures. They are the laws of this place. Everything happened because he awakened me from my slumber. I hope I won't regret this.
Zardock lifted his severed arm. Then flames began gathering in the air, merging and reshaping, until a fully formed hand appeared. He said quietly,
This is a hand forged from blood volcanic energy, but it is not as strong as the original.
Gohan tried to stand, but lost his balance. His eyes began to close, darkness swallowing his vision. Dad? Then he collapsed unconscious. Zardock looked at them both, exhaled deeply, and said before vanishing,
You endured enough, boy. We are not staying here another second. This place devours the living.
And in an instant, they disappeared from the dark fortress by Zardock's power, returning to Earth.
Elsewhere, in a realm unlike any other, with a sky cracked like golden glass and a ground without shadows, Zeno stood in terrifying calm before the Daishinkan, surrounded by a group of angels and only 3 surviving rulers of destruction, Beerus, Belmod, and the mouse Quitella. The atmosphere was suffocating, as if even the air feared to move. Behind them, the 3 prisoners were bound by the Daishinkan's power inside a magical cube that suppressed strength. Everyone exchanged confused glances, except one. The Daishinkan stood behind Zeno with a faint smile on his face, the smile of someone who already knew exactly why they had come to this unknown realm, but waited to hear the words from Zeno himself. Zeno stepped forward, his voice low, yet slicing through the air like a blade.
Do you know why we are here?
No one answered. Even the angels dimmed their light slightly.
Do you understand what's happening? Not a clue.
What Zeno-sama means?
Zeno raised his head, and thunder seemed to speak through him as he said, "We have come to awaken my father from his slumber."
You heard it too, didn't you?
Beerus's breathing quickened, and one of the angels trembled. Zeno continued, his glowing eyes reflecting genuine fear for the first time, because he is the only one capable of stopping Zardock. Only then did the Daishinkan's smile vanish, replaced by a long, heavy silence, as if even his heart had stopped for a moment. Something stronger and far more terrifying was about to awaken.
They arrived, the Daishin and Zeno, to the frozen world. A realm untouched by any creature, where the body of Zeno's father lay in a centuries-long slumber inside a colossal palace entirely fossilized in eternal ice. From afar, the scene was terrifying. A deadly silence, a cold that pierced through souls. The Daishin raised his hand and issued a firm command. Beerus, Belmod, Quitella, you will remain here. If Zardock appears or anyone else, stop them with everything you have. He knew Zardock was still free, and that his arrival here could mean the end for everyone. Beerus, Belmod, Quitella, and 1,000 angels would form the last line of defense, only to delay Zardock if they sensed his presence. Meanwhile, the Daishin and Zeno, with 700,000 angels, along with the 3 prisoners, Whis, Vegeta, and Bardock, advanced toward the icy palace to awaken the being who might help them or end their lives, Zeno's father. Journey into the unknown. Before them rose an immense gate, larger than any structure ever known across the realms. The Daishin opened it, angels trembling behind him, and Zeno watching from a distance. Then they all stepped inside. The frozen palace felt like a living entity sculpted from ice. Its walls were transparent like crystal, and the air inside wasn't just cold, it was suffocating, as if it drained warmth from their souls, not their bodies. Even angels, beings who usually never feel fear, found themselves drawing closer to one another, because inside this place, the prevailing emotion was dread. And then, the shock.
What?
In the heart of the icy hall stood two fully frozen figures. The first, a woman, with calm yet astonishing beauty, encased in layers of ancient ice, appearing as if asleep within the frost. The second, not a normal creature at all. A massive being sitting on a monumental throne, its features obscured, its form frozen solid, but yet its presence alone crushed the angels' breaths. Some trembled, others stiffened in terror. The Daishin Khan instantly understood that what awaited them wasn't merely awakening a sleeping being, but opening the door to a force none of them had ever witnessed.
What is that?
I don't know, but closer!
I can feel it.
It's huge.
As for Zeno, he was smiling, staring at his father, longing for him, yet afraid at the same time. Meanwhile, on Earth, Gohan and Zardock returned from the Dark Fortress, and as soon as they appeared, the air regained its red tint due to Gohan's overflowing power.
Goku was in Gohan's arms, a frail body, almost dead, with nearly no strength or spirit left. Zardock looked at Gohan with strict eyes.
I told you, neither the Dragon Balls will work, nor even my power can heal him. His body suffered something beyond the laws of all realms.
Gohan didn't wait. He carried his father and rushed to Bulma's lab at full speed. And everyone froze in terror when they saw Goku's condition.
Stay with me, please. Don't leave me like this. I'm so sorry.
Bulma trembled, but she pressed the emergency device, revealing a chamber resembling a water healing capsule. Goku was placed inside, and the advanced medical systems began scanning him with extreme precision. Zardock stood beside Bulma, who herself was trembling from the sheer presence of this colossal being.
You're trembling. Do you fear me?
You're not supposed to be here.
Answer. Do you fear me?
Yes, I do.
Good. Then you'll listen.
Then he extended his hand and revealed two small spheres.
What are you doing?
One red and one white. His voice was low but deep.
Listen. When Goku wakes up, let him consume these two spheres. The red one is a concentration of my red blood cells. It will grant him the ability to teleport to me instantly, no matter where I am. The white one is a royal armor. I used to wear it when I was a king long ago, but I no longer need it. He deserves it more than I do. It will grant him additional pure Saiyan power.
Bulma stared at the spheres, shocked and unable to understand anything.
Here it is.
They feel alive.
Take them before they choose for you.
Oh, okay, just please don't hurt me.
Zardock and Gohan left the lab and moved to an empty place.
I searched for Zeno and his followers, found no trace of them anywhere. I believe they traveled to the Golden Glass World, the same place where my eternal rival lies dormant.
Gohan approached, worried. Your eternal rival? Zardock smiled, a smile filled with terrifying memories. Yes, he and I fought a battle that destroyed 5 dimensions belonging to Zeno's siblings. As punishment for the chaos we caused, we froze ourselves for centuries. But it seems history is repeating itself. We will meet again. Without waiting for a reply, he raised his hand as black and white energy gathered around him. Then he looked at Gohan. Let's go. We still have a long path ahead. Gohan stood beside him, glancing back in the direction of his father, and whispered, "I'll come back, Dad, no matter the cost."
In an instant, a cosmic flash erupted, swallowing both Gohan and Zardock. They vanished completely and traveled through timelines like two sparks ripping through the darkness of creation.
In the golden glass world, inside the palace, shock still dominated every face. No one dared to step forward. Only the Daishin walked calmly toward a water pool in the center of the hall. He placed his hand into the water. The surface trembled, and he pulled out a small icy crystal. Then the pool dried completely in a single second, and the entire palace began to melt slowly. At that moment, the statue of the woman started to crumble from the top, shards of ice falling like stardust. Until she appeared. A breathtakingly beautiful woman, her features cold and serene, her eyes glowing like pieces of heavenly glass. Everyone stopped breathing. The Daishin and Zeno smiled softly, as if they knew her well. Then the Daishin said, "I present to you my sister Illyra, the guardian of Zeno's father." She opened her eyes slowly, looking at all of them, and spoke in a soft voice that carried a deadly threat.
"I see you have awakened me, little brother. And with all due respect to Lord Zeno, you know the consequences of entering this place. Unless your presence is related to my master or to Zardock."
She sighed slightly, then gestured with her hand.
"Move aside."
The angels instantly stepped back, standing in tense lines. Some had their feet frozen in place as she walked past.
Her feet, they're frozen. Don't move, don't speak. She's not even looking at us. And yet, I can't breathe.
Others were sweating despite the cold. As for the Daishin, he simply smiled with confidence, as if he knew exactly what would happen. He released Whis and Vegeta from their restraints.
I can move! You freed us.
But Bardock remained bound by the celestial ring, as if he knew his sister Illyra wished to test her strength after centuries of slumber. Everyone watched her steps as she moved through them. One step, the ground froze. Another step, the air trembled. Vegeta, the moment he was freed, laughed mockingly.
"Finally, I'm free. I'd love to kill every one of you. And really, you kept me restrained all this time to fight a woman? What a joke." He launched toward her at lightning speed, throwing a powerful punch aimed at her chest. Her body shattered as if she were nothing but a frozen statue. Vegeta laughed. "All that intimidation, and in the end you're just a pile of butt." Time froze. Everyone stopped moving. The angels, Zeno, Whis, even the echo of Vegeta's voice froze in the air. In an instant, Illyra appeared right in front of him. She slowly pushed her hand inside his chest. Vegeta, unable to move, unable to blink, unable to breathe. Time resumed, and Vegeta instantly transformed into a complete ice statue. His face still holding the expression of terror.
A perfect silence filled the palace. No one understood what happened. All they knew was that none of them saw a single movement.
Elira was walking forward with calm, silent steps until she stopped in front of Whis, who was smiling a small smile that barely hid real terror. Elira looked at him with a cold, unreadable stare. Then she lifted her hand and gently touched his cheek. She spoke in a whispering voice, soft but carrying a deadly chill.
Your face is beautiful, but I smell in you an old scent of betrayal. How do you stand with these Saiyans?
As her hand remained on his cheek, Whis's eyes began rolling upward, his life force seemingly being drained out of him. But suddenly, "Stop, Elira." She slowly turned around to find the Grand Priest standing behind her, his eyes serious for the first time. He said firmly, "He is my son. There is no need to take his life." Elira smiled softly, almost teasing.
I know. It's Whis. I always adored him when he was young. Huh.
Before she could continue, the entire palace shook. Everyone felt it, a wave of dread spreading through the air. Even Elira lifted her head and smiled.
He has truly arrived.
Moments earlier, outside the palace, on a vast golden glass platform floating in the void, 1,000 angels and 3 rulers of destruction were standing in a full defensive formation. Suddenly, a colossal light fell from the sky. The golden glass trembled. Even space itself distorted. Everyone raised their arms to shield themselves, and from within the blinding light, Zardok appeared, and beside him, Gohan. Gohan looked around with a light grin. Interesting. I like this world. Look down. They knew we'd come. Their numbers are many. Zardok chuckled lightly.
Are you afraid?
Gohan answered without hesitation. No, the opposite. I want to test my full power on them. Zardock sighed.
Fine. I have no desire to waste my time with them. Go on, finish them.
Gohan smiled. There's an ability I still haven't tried. I'll activate the slow tracking eyes and fight freely. Gohan's eyes turned into a bright, blazing yellow. The angels raised their spears of energy.
They're coming! Together! Now!
And the rulers of destruction prepared themselves. But before anyone could shout an order, Gohan vanished. He appeared in the middle of the crowd, instantly, delivering a single punch. One blow, and an angel's head flew into the air. Everyone froze in shock. But they quickly charged, surrounding him from all directions. As for Gohan, he dashed through the battlefield like a streak of lightning, vanishing and reappearing between them like a spark escaping time itself. Every movement he made was enough to shatter a body or erase an angel entirely with one strike too fast for the eye. The legions tried to corner him, but Gohan grabbed one angel's staff and began striking them one after another, sending bodies crashing down before they even understood how they were hit. He moved through them as if he were playing with gravity itself. Elira walked forward slowly toward the massive frozen creature seated upon its throne. Its body was trapped within layers of eternal ice, yet its aura alone was enough to make breathing difficult, as if the air itself feared him. She raised her magical staff. Just one touch on the throne, and a thick red light burst out, seeping into the ice, crawling like blood, awakening a heart that had been silent for thousands of years. The red light leaking from her staff began slowly changing into a celestial blue glow, as if the throne was absorbing the revival and returning to its true form. Illyra stepped back, then further back, as if she knew exactly that the next moment would not spare the weak. Then, the frozen statue slammed its foot into the ground. The strike was like an explosion born from the heart of a star. A lethal shockwave erupted, launching everyone into the air like paper dolls. Even Zeno, who stood only a few meters away, was thrown backward violently. The winds produced by that single strike ripped half the planet apart in an instant. The palace vanished. Nearby miniature planets evaporated like dust. The golden glass arena floating in space was hurled tens of kilometers away before finally stopping, creaking like something alive in pain. Gohan froze mid-battle, veins trembling. Zardock lifted his head, his narrowed pupils widening with genuine excitement for the first time as he stared toward the destroyed palace.
He has awakened.
Nothing remained of the palace except its base, now transformed entirely from ice into pure golden glass. A clear sign that the creature's true power was what kept this world frozen for millennia. Zeno screamed, panic in his voice for the first time. "Do not look at him! You are not permitted to look at him!" But the warning came too late. The monstrous presence shattered what remained of the ice and gold, and then the true form of the creature appeared. He sat upon the throne like a forgotten king, a terrifying, featureless beast, broad-shouldered, with golden muscles glowing from within, threads of celestial light moving beneath his skin. His face resembled Zeno's, but sharper, harder, and infinitely more terrifying. A single glance from him was enough. Those closest, who hadn't heeded Zeno's warning, froze instantly into solid golden statues. They didn't scream. They didn't move. Time itself stopped for them. Then, they crumbled into gold dust and scattered into the air. Silence consumed everything. In the distant golden glass arena, Gohan felt for the first time that he had not even started the real war yet. Meanwhile, Zardock smiled, eyes gleaming. My true battle is just beginning.
Meanwhile, Goku, submerged inside the water capsule in Bulma's laboratory, began reacting far faster than he should. It was as if his cells refused to wait. A sudden flash struck his mind. All his past smashed into his brain at once. He saw the moment he awakened ultra-luminous instinct, the moment he lost consciousness, his uncontrollable transformation, his war against the army of angels and the rulers of destruction. And he saw the Daishin banishing him to the dark fortress where he tasted pain beyond anything imaginable. Then, the image of Gohan and Zardock tearing through darkness to save him blazed in his memory. His body jerked violently inside the liquid. His eyes ignited with light. And he shattered the capsule with one strike, collapsing to the floor, gasping for air. The machines burst into alarms. Energy readings skyrocketed. It was as if Goku's body was awakening, ahead of its time. Bulma, near the lab,
Hold together! Manual override! Come on, come on! No! Rejected! Then I'm getting out of here! Almost there!
rushed inside. Her eyes widened in horror. Goku was standing in the center of the lab, his body blazing with celestial white fire, his aura burning the ground beneath him. Goku, smiling with a strange vitality. Looks like this transformation makes the body a bit bigger. I kinda like it. Bulma, trembling.
Goku, your body? You're still injured. How are you even standing? This is impossible.
Goku, calmly. You created something even you didn't expect. My healing speed has doubled. And don't forget, I'm a Saiyan.
But you need 3 full days to recover.
Goku, walking toward the door. I've slept longer than enough. There's something I must do. Suddenly, Bulma shouted.
Goku, wait! There's something important for you.
She rushed and brought the 2 orbs Zardok had given her. She told Goku everything, from Gohan and Zardock's arrival to the moment she received the orbs. On the other side of the universe, silence fell over the massive palace grounds. For Zeno's father had awakened. Anyone who dared look at his face turned instantly into golden statues, then crumbled into dust. Fear stabbed through every heart. Even the Daishin lowered his gaze. Then, amid the terrifying silence, a laugh echoed, shaking the walls. Everyone turned in shock to see Bardock standing fearlessly, smirking.
The being you awakened to protect you killed half of you before it even stood up. The Daishikan's expression twisted. In a flash, he vanished and appeared before Bardock,
Let go!
gripping his throat so hard the air cracked. You're just a pathetic Saiyan. How dare you mock your masters? I kept you as a pawn to bring them here. Well, your role is over. Now I will shatter... But before he could finish, a mysterious shockwave pierced the palace floor, shaking the throne of the colossal being for the first time. Ice fragments exploded into the air. Space itself tore open. A celestial lightning bolt crashed directly onto the Daishikan. A strangled scream, blood burst into the air, and the Daishikan collapsed, bleeding from his mouth, unable to rise. Everyone's eyes widened beyond belief.
anything we've ever faced. I don't want to look at it. What is that?
The light again. It's stronger. I can feel it in my chest.
Everyone hold your ground.
It's alive.
The Daishin lay on the ground, writhing in agony, blood pouring from his mouth, a deep red staining the golden glass beneath him. He slowly lifted his head, his voice breaking, trembling. "My children! Run! Run now!" But suddenly, the white-winged being fluttered its wings just once, and what followed felt like the end of an entire era. Changed. The void itself contracted. The surface of the cosmic palace transformed into erupting energy. A celestial vortex formed instantly. Its pole was brutal, terrifying, bending the glass sky inward, folding space as if it were a sheet of paper. Most of the angels, the weak, the average, even the strong, were dragged toward the center of the storm, their bodies screaming before they disintegrated into glowing dust. Only the strongest angels remained, struggling to survive the cosmic shards launched by the explosion, each shard powerful enough to destroy a planet. The Daishin, gripping the ground, unleashed a surge of energy that barely kept him rooted in place. Elera, with a swift motion of her staff, struck the ground, summoning a colossal ice barrier to shield herself, Zeno, and Zeno's father, seated upon his throne. On the other side of the palace, a full kilometer away, Bardock and the glass statue that had once been Vegeta found themselves far from the epicenter of the catastrophe. They were surrounded by a mysterious radiant glow, a power no one knew the origin of, nor how it formed around them, nor how it brought them together in the same place. Whis looked from afar and muttered, "Wait, is this really..." Bardock stood frozen in shock, and from the heart of the chaos, Goku appeared. But not the Goku anyone knew.
He appeared with radiant white wings on his back, shaped like blades of light. A royal, pure white armor shining with authority. Golden lines moving across his body like living energy. And eyes, not of a Saiyan, but of a celestial being awakened in fury. His aura was so intense it crushed dust without touching it. As everyone struggled to stand, they sensed a massive shadow behind Goku. Then, Zardock emerged, walking with heavy, earth-splitting steps, his eyes burning with power.
He was the one who protected both Bardock and Whis and the statue of Vegeta with his power. And for the first time, Elera's eyes widened in pure shock. She whispered in a strangled voice, Is this the real Zardock? As for Zeno, his entire body trembled despite trying to maintain his composure. Goku stood directly before Zeno's father, and his aura melted the remaining ice like wax. The Daishin was bleeding onto the floor, and the entire palace was on the verge of collapse from the overwhelming pressure. Goku began to move. Not running, not flying at insane speed, just walking. But every step shattered the ground beneath him, as if it were fragile glass. Everyone backed away in fear.
It's impossible.
Stay calm.
Even the strongest angels swallowed hard. He was walking straight toward the Daishin, as if he had known the path from the beginning. Zeno raised his hand in terror, and the terrifying white energy of the absolute erasure gathered around him. He screamed, "Total erasure!" The wave launched, but it vanished before touching Goku's body, gone, as if it never existed. Zeno's face froze, his eyes widened to the point of pure horror. The surviving angels couldn't believe what they were seeing. Even Alira, her eyes widened for a moment. Goku didn't stop until he reached behind the Daishin. He lowered his head slightly, and the sound of his footsteps on the rubble was like the whistle of death. Then he raised his foot and crushed the Daishin-Kan's head into the ground with a force that made the floor explode beneath his body. A kick, then another. Goku stomped him mercilessly, crushing him as if purifying the place from a sin thousands of years old. Everyone in the palace screamed on the inside, but none dared make a sound. He spoke in a low voice, but it carried the anger of millennia. "You think you're the only one who knows suffering? You think sending me to the Dark Castle was just punishment?" He brought his mouth close to the Daishin-Kan's ear, his voice becoming like a beast emerging from hell. I tasted hell there. I tasted the pain you created with your own hands, and now it's your turn to taste it. Then he threw him to the ground with a force that shattered his body. In an instant, Goku vanished and reappeared near the Daishin, kicking him so hard his body shot upward, then crashed into the ground repeatedly while the angels watched. No courage, no words, no movement. Goku was as if an ancient spirit feeding on agony, purifying itself. The Daishin tried to speak, tried to scream, but only a weak, broken sound came out. At that moment, Goku looked far behind him and saw his friend Vegeta frozen. His fury sharpened. Goku approached the Daishin and placed his foot directly on his tongue. He pressed. A wet, horrifying crunch echoed, making some angels recoil, screaming silently. Goku said as he pressed harder, "Speak! Was it you who did this to Vegeta? Come on, don't you want to say something?"
Then he leaned in further, his voice growing darker. He pressed harder, and the Daishinkan gasped with a muffled cry, blood bursting from his mouth. Everyone felt the terror, not from the eternal entity sitting on the throne, not from the storm that killed half the angels, but from Goku, from his gaze,
from the rage radiating from his body with that golden light, from his silence while torturing, and from his voice when he spoke. No one dared approach. Not Zeno, not the Daishin's children. Goku at that moment was the most dangerous being to ever appear in the history of the universes. Goku slowly raised his head and looked toward the golden throne. The eternal being who hadn't moved until now still sat upon his golden throne, silent. His eyes met the face of Zeno's eternal father. Suddenly, the entire palace froze. The light stopped. The air stopped. Even the hearts stopped. While everyone trembled, Alira was the only one who remained standing still, with half-closed eyes and a cold smile, a smile hiding something far greater than anyone could see.
Below, several kilometers away from the palace, what happened to the angels was catastrophic.
Feel my arm! Stay with me, you're going to be fine. Everyone, keep moving the wounded back, don't give up!
Is that all you've got? How pathetic.
All too easy. Don't blink. Shall we see who's the last laugh? Bring it.
And as Goku advanced with steady steps, his eyes locked onto the king's throne, something happened that no one expected. For the first time, that being stood up from his seat. Just a single rise, yet it was enough to change the face of the entire palace. Suddenly, a wind beyond any measurable force swept through the hall. A wind that made the ground tremble as if it were about to collapse. Alira shielded herself with her arm while dragging Zeno behind her with her energy. But the weaker angels, the pressure was far beyond what they could withstand. Their bodies exploded into pieces before they could even comprehend what was happening.
Hold your ground!
Huga.
For a brief moment, silence dominated. Goku's heart, for the first time since entering the palace, began to pound violently, pounding with fear. Not fear of death, but fear of something he could not explain. Something unlike any force he had ever faced. And when Goku lifted his head toward Zeno's father, the unthinkable happened. Goku's body began to turn to stone, his skin turning to gold, his fingers stiffening, his face disappearing beneath a shining layer of golden petrification. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. He was turning into a dead statue. But then, a heavy hand rested on Goku's shoulder. In a terrifying silence, the petrification began to fade, bit by bit, until it vanished entirely. Goku lifted his head and found himself facing the opposite direction, staring at Zardock. He didn't understand how his position changed, but what he did know is that he had just been saved from certain death. Zardock merely said in a calm voice that carried an indescribable threat, "You have no right to look at him. That creature can never be defeated." Goku was still trembling, unable to believe what had happened. Why did I end up facing this way? What? Zardock cut him off with a short laugh. You lowered your guard, and your real opponent has been waiting right behind me.
for quite some time. At that very moment, the palace shook once again.
The Daishin Khan appeared behind Goku, angrier than he had ever been in all of his existence. His eyes turned into radiant violet light. He slowly removed his angelic robe, and around him exploded a terrifying violet aura, as if it were a power born from the depths of chaos.
No, Father, this is impossible. Are you really going to do it now?
He spoke in a low voice, but every syllable shook the palace. This angelic robe was suppressing my true power. Ah, it was restricting me. Rejoice, Goku, for you will be the first to witness just 50% of my real strength. The palace quaked, and the violet aura devoured the golden light. Are you ready?
All right then. So you were hiding all that power, huh? I guess the real fight starts now.
After the explosion finally settled, Goku hovered in the air, his body wrapped in royal white light, his breathing calm and steady. On the opposite side, the Daishin Khan advanced slowly, a purple aura devouring the space around him. Only 50% of his power, yet his clash with Goku had made the golden world itself tremble. The Daishin Khan spoke in a calm voice, but it was poisoned like venom. Look around you, Goku. Do you see this devastation everywhere? This is the price of the Saiyans existing in this world. Goku clenched his fist. The glass floor beneath his feet cracked. A price? You were the ones who started everything. You exiled the Saiyan race. You tortured, you killed. You used Frieza, our own blood, to erase planet Vegeta. I only learned this recently. His voice hardened. But why did you let me live? Why didn't you kill me when I was a child? Suddenly, the Daishin Khan vanished. In the next instant, a thunderous impact exploded across the surface, sending shockwaves everywhere. Goku couldn't block the strike. His body was hurled back hundreds of meters, crashing into a wall of frozen shards. The angels gasped. Zeno covered his mouth instinctively. The Daishin Khan stared at the place Goku fell and shouted, "Bardock, Zardock, Vegeta, we never even knew you existed. How could we notice a mere insect living on a tiny planet?" His voice grew colder. "But when you grew up and Lord Zeno saw you in the tournament, he admired your courage and spared your life." Then he roared, "And look what you've done now, you bastard! Your very existence is a flaw in the balance of this universe." Time slowed. The air itself froze. Goku burst forward, piercing the wind like a winged strike, his fist aimed straight for the Daishin Khan's face.
Nice swing, Halo Boy. But you'll have to do better.
Gladly. Still smiling?
Always.
But the Daishin caught it with one hand. He smiled. A cold, merciless smile. That's why I will kill every Saiyan on Earth. You are a danger that must be erased. Goku snarled, forcing his fist forward.
You talk about balance? He screamed, the light around him detonating. You tried to kill my father just because he wanted to see me, a father who only wanted to see his son? His voice trembled with rage. You're the one who made me scream and suffer in the Dark Fortress until I forgot who I even was. Goku broke the Daishin-Kan's grip and punched again. But the Daishin-Kan mocked him, deflecting the blow with the back of his hand. Don't tell me this is all you have. I was actually excited to fight you. Don't disappoint me. Goku's fury surged. He drove a powerful strike straight into the Daishin-Kan's stomach. The Daishin-Kan spat blood and laughed. Huh, that wasn't bad. Now, try this.
My turn!
The angels trembled. One whispered in terror. He's serious. I don't want to see him reach 100%. I don't want to die here. Goku lowered his head, then raised it, his eyes blazing. The glass surface shattered like a broken mirror. Zeno panicked, gathered himself, and screamed, "Stop!" No one heard him. Whis glanced at him with disappointment and said, no one even senses your presence anymore, Zeno. The powers on this planet are tearing apart the laws of reason itself. How ironic. Look at you now. How miserable. Blow after blow, each strike sparks flying. Space tearing apart. The angels were blown away like debris. Zeno's father watched in awe, his eyes never leaving the collision of the two forces.
Ready for round 2, Halo Boy!
Goku broke through the Daishin-Kan's guard, a kick to the chest, then one punch, no retreat, a punch carrying oppression, exile, blood, the Saiyan rice, and revenge. The impact split space itself. They fell together, breaking through layers of the structure, through the void, until they slammed into a massive glassy rock beneath the palace. Below the palace, Gohan was fighting fiercely, surrounded by the remaining angels and 3 gods of destruction. Then, an explosion above them. Goku and the Daishin-Kan descended like a meteor of light. Gohan's eyes widened. Dad? The angel screamed. Kituela shouted, "Wait, did you all just see that? A winged being falling with Lord Daishin-Kan? Or am I hallucinating?"
Belmod staggered back. This fight is beyond our level. Beerus stood frozen in shock, his voice barely audible. If the Daishin-Kan fails to defeat him, then I believe this will be the end of all of us. Goku slowly stood up.
The Daishin Khan rose as well, his purple aura growing denser, but now in his eyes a different fire burned. His voice changed. Only now am I beginning to enjoy this. Do you want to see true power? Goku answered with a smile devoid of mercy. And I am not finished yet.
Zardock shouted toward the father of Zeno, his voice shaking the very air.
Hey, you angry beast. I'll come to you in a minute. I know you respect the laws of battle, don't you?
The creature did not respond. But smoke began rising from its body, as if its anger was starting to boil. On the eastern edge of the ruined surface, Bardock was still frozen in shock, watching a shadow approach through the reflection of the golden glass. That shadow was Zardock, walking calmly over broken stone fragments. Bardock tried to focus, his voice trembling. Is that Father? As Zardock came closer, Bardock lifted his head and a glowing tear slid down his cheek. Father, are you truly alive? I thought you vanished. Zardock placed his hand on the celestial ring around Bardock's neck and shattered it like fragile glass. Then he spoke with a deep, heavy voice filled with ancient resolve.
The final moment has come, and the era of true Saiyans begins now.
Without hesitation, Bardock threw himself forward and embraced his father tightly, tears pouring from his eyes. A few seconds later, Zardock walked toward Vegeta, placed his hand over the ice prison, and spoke in an ancient language forgotten for millions of years. The ice exploded like a shattering mirror. Vegeta emerged, overflowing with rage, as if he had witnessed everything while frozen. He roared, "I'll kill that witch who did this to me." But when he turned, he saw the towering Zardock glaring at the distant throne. Vegeta stiffened. "Wait, who are you?" Zardock didn't bother looking at him. His gaze remained fixed on the throne of the terrifying creature.
Rise, new prince of the Saiyans. The fate of the universe won't wait for your anger.
Zardock then revealed a golden earring, the first version, the forbidden, legendary prototype even angels were not allowed to touch. He gave one earring to Vegeta and one to Bardock. Vegeta's eyes widened. This? The original legend? Bardock laid a hand on Vegeta's shoulder. "No time to be shocked. Ylera is waiting for the moment my father looks away. She'll tear our heads off." Vegeta raised his hand. Bardock raised his. The earrings touched their ears. A massive light erupted. A being of pure power emerged.
Let's do it! Fusion! Now!
Bargitta. Bardock plus Vegeta. An impassable fusion never seen in any era. His eyes were black pitch glowing with gold, and his aura raged like a newborn starstorm. Whis watched in disbelief, barely regaining his composure. With a firm, serious voice, he said, "You've become incredibly powerful, but be careful with that woman. Ylera is truly terrifying."
Both the Daishin and Goku planted their feet firmly on the ground. Silence ruled the place. No sounds of battle, no screams, no explosions, only the pulse of the universe itself, slow, broken, as if reality was hesitating to continue. The golden glass beneath their feet groaned, not from pressure, but from fear, as if this world had finally realized it had crossed its limit. The Daishin stared at Goku. He did not attack. Instead, he stepped back slowly, walking with deliberate calm, leaving a vast distance between them. He raised his hand with terrifying composure and formed a strange energy sphere. With a single arcane strike, he slammed it into the ground. The entire void shook. The golden glass cracked beneath them as if existence itself was tearing apart. Moments later, pink symbols appeared in the air.
The power is mine to command.
Then, from beneath the surface, gigantic gates erupted, covered in primitive metals, crowned with nightmarish faces. They opened slowly, releasing a horrifying wail that pierced bones before ears. The sound was like the cry of beings trapped between worlds, born and dying in the same instant. Gohan whispered, trembling, "What is that?" His voice nearly vanished, as if the place itself no longer acknowledged words. Some angels fell to their knees, realization finally striking them. Their bodies trembled, faces drained of color. Beerus struggled to breathe, his heart shaking, knowing that this thing should never have been summoned. Even the other gods of destruction, who had stood indifferent before the end of worlds, now felt that their fangs were useless.
At the highest remains of the palace, Whis felt a sharp tightness in his chest, as if an ancient bond had suddenly snapped. A single tear slid down his cheek. He understood then, this was not just his end, but the end of the entire system of his kind. Whis spoke softly. "So, this is truly the end. How ironic. Will I die by my father's hand in this very place?" Below the palace, before the Daishin moved toward the gate, he turned and looked at his sons. All fighting with Gohan had ceased the moment Goku arrived. Even the wind froze. He spoke in a gentle voice they had never heard before, a tear falling from his eye. "I'm sorry, my sons. I have no other choice." In that moment, hearts that never knew they could break, broke. Some understood, some collapsed, some wept. during their final seconds, and some had already lost hope before time itself stopped. He then turned toward Goku, who stood frozen, heart pounding violently. With a calm voice and a horrifying smile, he said, "Wait for me. I will return shortly." For the first time, Goku realized those words were not a threat. They were a postponement of death. Then, the Daishin entered the gate. And vanished. The moment it swallowed him, the catastrophe began. Angels vanished one after another, their bodies evaporating into celestial dust, screaming and crying. As they were violently dragged into the gates.
They clung to anything, anyone, in vain. Even those above, including Whis, began to fade, as if their existence had only ever been temporary. Zardock could not bear the sight. Something inside his chest shattered without a sound. Whis looked toward his comrades and spoke his final words with his usual cold smile. "Vegeta, Bardock, my role ends here. Finish what remains. Save the world from their ruin. Give my regards to Goku. Farewell." The fusion Bargitta could do nothing but scream, a cry of rage swallowed by the void. Moments later, the gate moved again. It opened slowly, savoring the anticipation.
The darkness has arrived.
Terrifying smoke poured out. A purple aura engulfed the sky. Then, a colossal, monstrous being emerged. Dark body, planetary fracture shattered around it. A power unseen in all of history pulsed within this creature. From the darkness, purple eyes opened. Anyone who looked into them felt their soul pulled one step backward. Time bent, space surrendered. The gods of destruction froze where they stood. Beerus found no words. The only instinct left in him was survival. Gohan gasped, not from the power, but from the realization that everything he knew about this universe was a lie. And Goku stood alone at the front, silent, back straight, hands trembling ever so slightly. His expression said only one thing: this is not a battle. This is the beginning of true hell.
across the void surrounding the collapsed glass surface, the bodies of the rulers of destruction were
scattered over golden glass-like rocks, motionless like corpses spat out by the Grand Priest's final explosion. Some lay stretched out, their features frozen. Others were half buried beneath the debris, dark blood congealing in the vacuum. No sound remained, except for a faint hum, like the groan of the universe itself. At the heart of the scene, Gohan was kneeling on both knees, his chest rising and falling violently, his eyes searching through the swirling dust and suspended shards for one shadow only, his father's. His fist trembled, his lips quivered, fear gnawing at his heart as he whispered, "Dad, where are you?" Slowly, heavily, the dust cleared, revealing the emptiness, and there, at a short distance, stood Goku. His body radiating a shifting celestial white light. Facing him from afar was the Grand Priest, surrounded by a dense purple aura, like living poison coiling around his form. One moment of silence, enough to catch a breath before hell. Then, Goku and the Grand Priest charged. They ran and leapt across golden glass shards suspended in space, exchanging jumps and bursts of speed. Every step shattered what lay beneath it, every impact shaking the dimension itself. They met in the center like two blazing arrows, their collision detonating a shockwave that tore through space, bending the rocks like a mad ocean wave. But the impact came faster than perception. As vision cleared in a single flash, the Grand Priest had seized Goku by the head, raining down brutal punches upon him. Every blow blasted light from Goku's body, every strike as if tearing his soul from its place. Grabbed him by the neck, surged forward, then smashed him into a massive golden glass rock. The rock shattered into thousands of fragments, and Goku's body crashed through them like a broken meteor. Gohan's eyes widened. A heavy tear slid without stopping. He had never seen his father humiliated like this. His heart screamed, but no sound came out. Goku lay among the debris, tried to rise, blood dripping from all over his body. Then he stood on his feet, furious. A short silence fell, the silence before the storm.
He slowly lifted his head. His eyes ignited, his breathing steadied. He extended his hand, and a dense energy gathered in his palm, unlike anything they had ever seen before. He smiled a sideways smile and said in a low but steady voice, "All right. You're not the only one who knows how to use a staff."
He took a step forward, the light thickening around him. "You know, I've used the staff for more than 20 years. He swung the staff, which shifted through multiple weapon forms before settling into a long staff. Space trembled as he said, "It's what I'm best at." He raised his hand, and the staff took on a sharp, pulsing shape. "Are you ready? Now, the epic battle begins."
And your darkness unwavering! Then let them collide!
The clash erupted. Their bodies collided, vanished, and reappeared in flashes. The sounds of impact turned into a mad rhythm. Golden light slammed into purple, overwhelming the senses. Goku maneuvered, struck, surged forward, while the Grand Priest responded with cold brutality, reading the movement before it was complete, breaking the rhythm every time. Goku screamed, gathered everything he had into a single strike, but the Grand Priest pierced through the attack, seized the wrist, twisted the body, and slammed Goku down with a chain of decisive blows. Then hurled him across the void. He crashed into successive rocks like stations of pain. Goku finally fell, the light around him fading, his body collapsing among the shards, his breaths breaking. It was a crushing defeat. The void fell silent once more. Gohan gasped, his worry in his eyes reaching its limit.
The rulers of destruction understood nothing.
Beerus spoke in a broken voice. That final form of the Grand Priest is truly terrifying. He smiled, a half smile filled with pain, and said, "At least, we won." At the very top of what remained of the palace's surface, where there was no longer a palace in any true sense, but rather massive, cracked golden glass plates filled with frost and drifting through the cosmic void, capable of withstanding the power of the Eternal King, Zardock stood with terrifying steadiness. His shoulders were tense, his eyes unblinking, as if time itself had paused in reverence for that moment. Before him, at a distance exceeding a kilometer, stood the Eternal King, Zeno's father, the entity whose complete battle had never been recorded in any cosmic archive.
His body was still, his features rigid, with no aura, no surge of energy, and yet his presence weighed heavier than an entire galaxy. Ilera pulled Zeno backward with her power without uttering a single word. Her primal sense of right and wrong screamed within her that what was about to happen was not something she had the right to witness up close. The fusion stood tense, his fist trembling, teeth clenched, feeling for the first time that the power he carried meant nothing before what was coming. A crushing silence fell. Then, the eternal entity spoke for the first time in millions of years from his throne.
Zardock.
His voice was deep, low, yet it pierced the void like a blade cutting steel. The golden glass plates beneath everyone's feet cracked merely from the utterance of the name alone.
Ages have passed, universes have shattered, and yet you still stand before me with the same eyes.
Zardock did not smile. He did not answer immediately. Instead, he lowered his head slightly, as one recalling an ancient memory filled with devastation and what they had endured together before, and said,
"Because you have not yet been defeated, and because our mistake has not been corrected. Tell me, do you still hide your face behind that mask?"
Zeno's eyes widened in terror. This was not a dialogue of threats, but a dialogue of equals who knew each other since before laws existed. The Eternal King took a single step forward. And in that same instant, the golden glass world split. Not an explosion, but a silent fracture, as if reality itself bowed in respect to his movement. Zardock vanished. No flash, no speed, no trace. He was gone. Suddenly, two fists collided at the heart of the void. The impact did not create an explosion. It erased sound itself. Vibrations stopped. Energy froze. Everything around them turned into a white void for a brief moment before the world returned violently. Zardock was hurled backward, tearing through dozens of golden glass plates with his body, but he twisted midair, planted his foot, and counterattacked, his knee ripping through the void. The Eternal King caught it with one hand. A slight squeeze, and the knee collapsed, evaporating as if it had struck an immovable mountain. Zeno screamed.
"This is impossible!"
Ilera swallowed hard, for she felt something she had not felt since her birth. Real fear. And when Zeno turned around, he found a terrifying face staring at them since the very beginning of the battle. It was Bargitta. Bargitta clapped once, shattering the glass barrier. But Ilera vanished and reappeared before him, hurling a small frozen planet that slammed into him, sending him an immeasurable distance away. Cold crawled instantly beneath his feet, seeping into the bones before the skin.
Using all his strength, he finally managed to stop the attack of the icy planet. And then, at a speed he could not perceive, Ilera stood before him, calm. Surrounded by dense frozen mist, snowflakes revolved around her like silent crowns. Her gaze carried no anger, only frozen judgment. She spoke in a voice cold as death.
A temporary fusion, false power, and an inevitable end.
Bargitta smiled despite the cold, vapor rising from his breath. True heat is born under pressure. The ground exploded with ice. The two vanished, reappearing among massive ice blades. Flashing collisions, blows shattering crystals. Every movement of Ilera left behind a frozen trace that bound space itself. She extended her hand. Icy chains formed and wrapped around Bargitta's arm. They tightened. Ice overtook the fusion, cold energy seeping into his body. He screamed but resisted, gathered his will, and shattered the ice in an unstable explosion, shards scattering like stars. For the first time, Ilera stepped back. The mist around her thickened. She said calmly, terrifyingly,
Your resistance does not change my degree of cold.
raised her foot and struck the ground. Everything froze in a single instant. Air, light, sound. Even the pulse of the fusion. Ice surged upward with his feet. There was no escape. The air itself was frozen. Then both his legs shattered, and he fell, gasping as if dying. Ilera advanced toward him with complete confidence, preparing to deliver a single blow to end it. But Bargitta expelled a horrifying sphere of energy from his mouth and fired it directly at Ilera's face. She collapsed near him, half her face disfigured, without a pulse. Bargitta stood amid the ice, the fusion slowly collapsing, his final voice lost among the shattered crystals. Only moments remained before Bardock and Vegeta would die in this body. Ilera closed her eyes, a tear sliding down her face, confirming that this battle had been decided from the very first moment, with both of them. The Eternal King raised his other hand and touched Zardock's chest with just 2 fingers. In that instant, cracks opened across Zardock's body, not wounds, but golden fractures within his very being. Had he been an ordinary warrior, he would have exploded into dust in less than a second. But Zardock regenerated at astonishing speed, despite the pain crushing him. Zardock laughed, a low, exhausted laugh, yet filled with defiance.
You still do it, relying on your golden power, forgetting that I am the King of Blood.
Suddenly, a dark power erupted from Zardock's core, not an aura, but a vortex from his blood-soaked world. Terrifying screams emerged, voices of Zardock's past victims, each transformed into blood force. From it emerged a black, bloodthirsty hand. That seized the Eternal King and began dragging him into the vortex. For the first time, that creature showed weakness. Step by step, his feet slid, yet it was enough for the entire place to freeze. Zeno, the only one left, gasped, sweating, overwhelmed by every terrible emotion at once. The Eternal King stared at Zardock. Something changed in his eyes.
So you are no longer what you were.
He then severed his own hand and retreated at maximum speed away from Zardock. Afterward, he regenerated his hand using his golden power. Zardock smiled. For a moment, his aura and features shifted into a terror that reached even the deepest depths. The two vanished at the same instant. Then they reappeared directly above one another, forehead colliding with forehead. A pressure wave exploded outward, tearing the entire palace apart and sending golden glass plates, continental in scale, scattering through space. Below, Gohan lifted his head. He felt the collision. His heart clenched. He rushed to his father's fallen body and shielded him from the golden glass shards.
I couldn't save you. I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, the Grand Priest, believing he had already won, was so mesmerized by what was happening in the sky above that he did not notice Gohan's movement. "Dad, you have to drink this." Gohan pressed his hand and gave him a sip of Zardock's blood, now flowing within his own veins. The battle returned to the heights.
You cannot move what was never meant to move.
For the first time, the Eternal King began to remove his mask. Zardock said to him,
"You're late in revealing your ugly face."
The terrifying being laughed, a dreadful, chilling laugh. Zeno lowered his head, unwilling to look at his father. He did not want to remember that his own true face was also hidden within this small body by his father's power. The Eternal King began to attack now, fast, precise. Every strike altered the direction of gravity, flipping up and down, turning right into left, shattering Zardock's sensor space. Zardock took a blow to the shoulder. His arm vanished for a moment. Then returned with difficulty. He inhaled deeply, blood spilling from his mouth, yet he did not retreat.
"That's why we froze ourselves,"
he said hoarsely.
"Because continuing our battle meant the end of everything."
The Eternal King stepped closer, his shadow swallowing the light.
"And that is what will happen now."
You think a missing arm will stop me?
Their fists collided once more, but this time something changed. The golden glass world began to crack from within, not due to power, but because the laws themselves could no longer endure their coexistence. In that moment, everyone realized one terrifying truth. This battle was not about victory. It was about deciding whether one of them could continue to exist in this world after the other's death, because whoever survived would be left without a rival. And that was something neither of them could endure. The Eternal King slowly raised his hand and said in a voice that shook existence itself,
"You know, we said it would last forever, and we do not wish to freeze ourselves for eternity either, so..."
Zardock clenched his fist, blood pouring, his eyes blazing with legendary defiance.
"So, let us end everything."
At that same instant, they charged. There was no speed, no energy, no auras, two unmatched wills colliding. The attacks met at a single point, a point the laws could not withstand. The golden glass world exploded completely, and the void turned into a deadly silence. At the bottom of what remained of the palace, where nothing was left but debris drifting over a turbulent void, Goku's body finally moved. The blood Gohan had poured into his mouth was no ordinary blood. Zardock's blood surged through his veins like a storm, healing, rebuilding, awakening something deeper than the body itself. His breathing steadied, his muscles tightened, and his eyes slowly opened. Gohan, tears still clinging to his eyes, spoke in a tense voice. "Come on, Dad, come on. This blood, it's what allowed me to keep fighting. Without it, I would have fallen before the angels and the gods of destruction. But it won't be enough against that creature up there. His power, it terrifies the heart." Goku tried to rise, bracing himself against the cracked ground, and said with a faint smile, despite the pain, "You're safe, Gohan. That's enough for me. I'll stand up, and I'll finish that insolent bastard, the Grand Priest." Gohan suddenly lunged in front of him, stopping him, his voice trembling as he said, "No, you won't be able to. His power surpasses yours. Even if we fight him together, we'll be defeated." A heavy silence fell. Then Gohan said with deadly calm, "Unless..." Goku looked at him, and in the same instant, they spoke the same word, fusion. Kilometers away, the Grand Priest suddenly opened his eyes. A cold smile formed on his face as he said, "Didn't I kill that rat? Seems he didn't die after all. Interesting." He surged forward, cutting through the winds, heading toward the source of the energy. But before he reached it, the pressure rebounded. A power never before witnessed by existence itself exploded across the space. The strongest fusion in Saiyan history. Goku's final form, pure, luminous Ultra Instinct, merged with Gohan's royal Ultra Instinct. A new being was born. One name, two souls, one will. Son Gokan. The Grand Priest froze in place. For the first time in his life, he found no words to describe this power. The fusion did not rush forward immediately. He forged weapons from his energy, multiple forms, tested them, discarded them.
then stopped. Sharp golden claws grew from his hand, and he said with terrifying calm, "This is suitable for ending him." The Grand Priest charged again, flying with all the authority he had left. But this time, the fusion seized him by the head. No screams, no resistance, as if all his energy was drained from his body. A small blade of energy formed in Gokan's hand, and the strike was delivered. The head fell. It rolled away from the body. Gokan stepped forward, lifted the head with solemn respect, and placed it upon the fallen body's chest, honoring the strongest opponent he had ever faced. But the end had not yet come. Space trembled. A black hole appeared in the sky, pulling everything toward it. An unprecedented, irresistible force. The palace vanished. Nothing remained but a small frozen planet slowly breaking apart. Then everything went dark. When the light returned, there was no body, no trace, no energy, no golden world, only a silent void. Zeno, the closest of all, was mercilessly dragged into a place of no return. A black hole forming, pulling everything into it, confirming that two legends had chosen the same end. Fusion ran, searching, until he spotted the Vegeta fusion being dragged toward oblivion. He grabbed him at the last moment. He pulled out the red sphere Bulma had given him on Zardock's recommendation, while the white sphere remained fused within his royal armor. Everyone vanished. On Earth, a small house amid a vast forest, Bulma's backup refuge spared from the city's destruction. Fireworks, children playing, laughter had returned. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and even Bardock, who had become one of them. Goku laughed and said, "Dad, Earth meat is delicious. You've got to try it. Ha ha!" Near the door, Piccolo sat watching in silence. Bardock said to him, "Why don't you celebrate with them?" Piccolo replied calmly, "I'm not used to it yet, even though I've lived here for a long time." He looked at Gohan, who was smiling, then said, His smile is what keeps me happy." Bardock smiled softly. "As for me, I've missed my son. Seeing him from here is enough for me."
A heartfelt thank you to everyone who followed this story until the very last moment. Your support, your comments, and your love are the true fuel behind everything I write. Today, we've reached the end of a major chapter. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support us with a like, because this support is what allows these stories to continue, grow, and reach a level worthy of your love for Dragon Ball. 2026 is coming, God willing, and it will be a different year. A year filled with Dragon Ball stories crazier than anything you've seen before. Battles, emotions, moments that will stay in your memory. And all of this is because you were here. Wishing you all the best, a new year filled with health, strength, and dreams coming true. Keep supporting Ans Dragon Ball Z. What's coming is greater.